Hello, we're here. So big welcome to the State of Local Search in 2024. Can you believe it? 2024. We are very excited to be joined today by Ben Fisher, Joy Hawkins, and Amanda Jordan. Hooray! So what I want you to remember is that the session is recorded. So you'll get the recording straight into your inbox as soon as it's finished, and it'll also be on the YouTube channel. So when we're finished today, you can come along to the Facebook group, the local pack, where you can chat with over 3,000 local marketers and carry on the conversation about all things State of Local Search in 2024. But first, a message from our sponsor, Bright Local. Hooray! So that's me. For anyone new to Bright Local webinar, we wanted to share that Bright Local is the only tool that you need to improve your local SEO. The tools will help you rank higher, grow your reputation, and build citations, all at an unbeatable price. So we have a 14-day free trial. So if you haven't already, check out Bright Local and see how it can help you with your local SEO. So we are ready. We are ready for introductions to our wonderful, wonderful guests who almost need no introduction, but I am still going to ask them to introduce themselves. Could we ask Joy to give us a brief intro?
Do I just read my thing here to everybody?
No, can you dance it? I'd like to see you dance it, please.
Dance it? Oh, geez. I should rap it. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, go.
So,
no!
Not going to do that. So I'm Joy. I own a local search agency called Sterling Sky. And we're in the US and Canada, and we work with a multitude of different types of small businesses, anywhere from plumbers to lawyers. And my obsession is figuring out Google's algorithm. So that's where I spend the majority of my time at work, doing tests and things to try and figure out anything I can about Google that isn't well known yet.
Fabulous. Thank you. And Ben.
All right. Well, I just have to say, Claire, it was a wonderful discussion in the green room. We were talking about the state of sitcoms. I'm just saying. No. So my name's Ben Fisher. I'm one of the founders of Steady Demand. We focus on, well, you guessed it, local SEO, everything from Google Business Profiles, of course, reinstatements. Yes, which we're going to now call appeals, actually. And we do lots of local services ads where we have improvements of 300 to 400% for our clients. It's insane. It's crazy. It's awesome though. Love it. And we are actually one of the few companies that are really successful at still hunting down spam. And about 50%, I think, is our average rate. And yeah, anyway, and we just, love everything to do with Google Business Profiles.
Thank you very much. And save the best till last, Amanda.
I'm Amanda Jordan. I work at Rickety Roo. I'm Director of Digital Strategy. I love working with large franchise and multi-location businesses and interesting projects like mergers and acquisitions. So, but our agency, we kind of run the gamut from everything from small local businesses to large local businesses with multiple locations. And I really like focusing on strategy and looking at the symbiosis between your website and your Google Business Profile.
Fabulous. Thank you very much. So here we have it, 3 amazing people in local search. And we just want to, before we even crack on, say a big thank you for being here, because you are important people just in terms of you're actually working in local SEO, you're working in agencies, you're managing teams, you're writing stuff, you're doing research. So without you, we just don't learn the same amount of stuff. So thank you very much for being here and for sharing all your wisdom. So the agenda for today, whether that be the morning or the evening or whenever it is where you are. We're going to start off with a little bit of a retrospective. We're going to look back at 2023. Like any year in the world of local SEO, lots of things happened. We're going to understand and think about some of the changes that took place. We're going to do a little bit of gazing into our crystal ball, thinking about the future of local search this year, what it might look like, thinking about tactics, thinking about things that organizations and agencies need to look at and think about to be successful. And then the bit that is, I just love Q&A, because we always get a gazillion questions, and that is your chance for you as a local business owner, or you as an agency owner, or you as an in-house marketer, to actually pop your burning question and to one of these people that is going to be able to give you a pretty awesome answer. So get your questions in for the Q&A. So there we are. That's the agenda. That's what we're going to run through this evening, this afternoon to daytime, all the things wherever you are again. So let's start with looking back. What a year it was. How many things happened in the world of local search in 2023? So first question. I'm going to start with Amanda. What would you say is the biggest change that you've seen in local search over the past year, and how did it impact you or your clients?
Yeah, so I think the biggest change that I've seen is one that Joy found, and it's the openness becoming more of a factor for Google Business Profiles, because not only does it change things for the profile itself, it also impacts your ranking tools and things like that as well. And that makes doing monthly reporting a little bit different for clients. It makes like the data they're seeing a little bit different. And it also makes, like, if you have one of those clients that likes to Google their business at random times of the day, that also makes that a little bit of a different experience as well. I think that has been one of the most impactful things. And it's so interesting how it kind of snuck up on us. We knew something changed, but we weren't quite sure what it was. And thank you, Joy, for giving us a name to what happened, so we actually know, like, hey, oh, this is why this is happening. I think that would be the big one for me.
Someone at Google fell against the openness dial and basically just smashed it down, and no one's managed to turn it back. Joy, what would you say?
Yeah, so to not give the same answer as Amanda, I'll try to go for something else. One of the other things I've noticed more recently, so like we're talking very, very, very end of 2023, is something that I haven't even published yet. So I think it's going to come out on our YouTube channel hopefully next week. But the rise of forums, and I'm not just talking about Reddit, because I know Lily Ray's been tweeting a lot about Reddit for like a few months and stuff. And absolutely, I'm seeing Reddit, but like we're seeing now for local searches, almost every local search I have done for anywhere from painters to lawyers to dentists, I'm seeing forums and different discussion places online ranking, and they were nowhere before. Like this is new as of like the last 3 to 4 weeks for local search. I think it started rolling out more so for local queries that was seen kind of like mid-December. And we're seeing it for everything, and it's like drastically changing because it's pushing down businesses. And what we're seeing with these threads that are ranking, like there's forums I've never even heard of, like for each different niche and things that are ranking. The local search forum, which is my forum, I can't even tell, our traffic has almost tripled in the last month from Google, which is just insane. And yeah, it's I think it has really big implications. We're not really sure what the action items are yet because we're testing a whole bunch of things, but the main gist of what I think the takeaway is for me anyways, is that forums are likely the most human moderated thing I can possibly think of. Like basically you're not going to get crap on forums. You're going to get real experiences because of how heavily moderated they are. Like you spam on a forum, you try and promote yourself, you will get banned very quickly on every forum I've ever participated in. And I think that is good for Google in a world that frankly is like full of fake reviews and fake content. And the answers that you get on these queries and threads that are now ranking are also just drastically different than anything else that's ranking. So you like a very different story. So I think it's going to fundamentally change how we look at SEO, because it's like, up until now, it's like, oh, who ranks? Let's copy what they do, see what Google's looking for. Whereas like now it's like, well, what isn't there almost is the question you should also be asking. It's really fascinating.
Wow, that's interesting. You've got a webinar, haven't you, on that coming up?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to be picking Lily's brain, but like just because she's got a larger perspective in the sense that she doesn't work just with local businesses, but like the stuff we're seeing for local queries aren't what I would expect. If you'd asked me like 3 years ago, like, what are your, predictions for 2023? I would not have said the rise of forums.
No.
I think everybody would have said that. So, we're not great at predicting things.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you. Ben, what were the biggies for you in 2023?
So I would say hands down is going to be just the rise of AI, large language models, basically. And, how it's impacted us, at least, is basically, I think it's increased our productivity amazingly at this point. And, not like writing full articles or things like that, but just using it for what it's intended to be used as, which is as a superpowered assistant, right? It's like, anyway, yes. So I'm going to say the rise of AI, and that's probably going to be my answer for your next question too. But, but yeah, and our clients like it too. All of our clients, of course, want to know how it's impacting local search or how it's going to impact local search. And unfortunately, the answer to that is, I don't know. Like, for instance, if you've got AI, generative AI turned on for Google, sometimes you'll get a 3-pack, sometimes you'll get a 5-pack, sometimes you'll get a 10-pack. Sometimes you'll get ones that have reviews. Sometimes you get just text for a local business. So I think it's all still in flux. And I think it's going to be really exciting what we're going to see this year for it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that is your question as well. That's your answer to part two also there, all rolled into one. You're so effective, Ben. I love that. So I'll pose that question then. We'll come back to Joy. AI and you as an agency, local landscape as a whole, anything to add to that? Any thoughts?
Yeah, so I'm definitely not on the like AI is everything train. Like, I mean, I think it's useful, but I do think it was very overhyped last year. Like every, YouTube video was like AI this and AI that. And even like the general search volume for AI stuff didn't maintain what it originally was. That being said, I agree with Ben. I think that it is very useful for tools and things. As an agency, we're pretty much using it mostly to like supplement, writing titles and like throwing in keywords. It's, faster than I could think of how to put in near me into a sentence kind of thing. Service area page content, it's great for. It's about the only content I would use it for. I think everything else we've tried has been a total train wreck as far as like the accuracy and quality. So I'm kind of steering away from that when it comes to content and AI. And images, I would say, is another really good use case for it because the average small business doesn't have great images. And I would definitely say that AI in our testing has been superior to stock photos. So I think it's a really great alternative. I would not want to be a stock photo company right now, though. I don't know how this is going to play out for them.
Agreed with that one.
Yeah.
No, that's really, that's interesting. It's good that you're playing around with it and trying it. That's the thing. It's just like, it's such a, but it's like, yeah, well, you've got to try it. You've got to see what it actually does and how it can fit in to your processes and your workflows. Amanda, tell us about AI and what's your take there?
Yeah, we've been using it to streamline processes and to make things easier. I used it for a client just recently where we are doing a site migration to find all the one-to-one redirects because I just gave it, these are all the existing URLs for one site, these are all the existing URLs for the other site, matched them up as best as you can. And it used the URL structure and the page titles to do that as best as it could. Not 100% perfect, of course, but it definitely took out a significant amount of time it would take for a person to do that. So finding use cases like that are not necessarily content related, but more so focused on saving time for members of our team by streamlining some things. And I've used it to make Python tools too. So using it to make an internal linking tool to scrape sites and find internal linking opportunities based on specific keywords that I want to link from, things like that. That is primarily the use that I have for it. As far as how it's impacting the local landscape as a whole, like Ben, I'm kind of like, with SGE, we haven't really seen it in the wild enough, and it's not refined enough, I think, for us to really have a good idea of what is the impact it's going to have for local search in general, because it fluctuates as far as what you see as results so much so far. I do think that trust with local businesses is going to become a significantly greater factor, just because the more the general public knows about AI and there's more news article things out about fake reviews being used with AI, people using AI to get around certain things that people would expect their actual person to interact with them for. I think that it's going to be extremely important for businesses to focus on authenticity. And then the other side of that coin too is going to be extremely important for them to focus on just their entire digital presence, so that they can make sure they can rank there, because they want to be as visible as they can and as many places online as they can that makes sense for their business, to give them a better chance of being seen as related or important in context to what people are searching for.
Wow. Yeah. Just getting your head around the sort of consumer behavior impact of like the next iteration of where we're going to go in terms of, is this real, you know, and that trust. And it's interesting what you were saying about forums as well, Joy. It's like the original, you know, when we had Demos, and you know, that was where you got your original link from, because it was trusted, and you know, Wikipedia because it has editors and blah 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 blah. It's almost like taking a step back, because we're potentially stop trusting so many you know, results and sources and stuff. So that's quite fascinating, really, isn't it? What a time to be alive.
I find the whole thing with the forums thing interesting, because Google took a big stance against forums a long time ago, mid 2000s actually, and devalued forums completely. So because they were so easily gamed, you know, and people are just stuffing links and doing all sorts of things. So I mean, you know, I'm really interested to actually see what you're discovering here, Joy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think this is the total opposite. I don't find them easy to game in the sense, like, I mean, it's really easy to get banned from Reddit. Like, you call
something like Reddit. True, very true.
Yeah. Or our forum, I should say, we ban people like every week. So I mean, you know,
maybe it'll come down to the trustworthiness.
Yeah, trustworthiness, and less easily gamed than AI, in you know. So whatever. It's like Google rolling it back, because it's like, this is even worse than this. Let's go back to that previous version that we had. Let's have a little think about, and I think we should, like, no one's allowed to answer AI, but they are really, obviously. Is there one tactic or strategic change that had the most impact on your clients in 2023? So thinking about something that you did differently that was like, you know, worked really well. Joy.
Yeah, so I think that the two biggest things that we've been pushing trend-wise are getting like real-world data onto clients' websites. So, you know, typically you would have a lawyer and they would have a page about, I don't know, a topic on their site about a specific type of law. Like, actually getting like a case study of a case they did, or an actual results that they, like, people are usually very adamant about not doing that. They're like, oh, we don't want to set expectations, or like, we don't want to list our prices because we're, you know, the most expensive one. And I've been working really hard to try and get clients to ditch that thinking, because we've been finding that basically adding that kind of stuff is literally on the same wavelength as like the forum thing. It's like, what people want is like real experiences. And of course they have to be crafted in a way that's search engine friendly and all that jazz. But like, it's something different that your competitors don't have. And we're seeing that Google's actually favoring those types of pages more if you have that kind of stuff. So we've been really working on that getting prices and case studies and things like that added to client sites.
How have you found that to be?
Like
in
it's
terms
literally
of the ease.
Yeah. Oh, the beauty is of convincing clients.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we have some really good clients. So I'd say most of our clients listen to us. Of course, there are times where we have to kind of push back and stuff. And I also, realize that we're not experts on their business, but the end results, like showing them, hey, like this literally increased this client's ranking by this. Do you want to have your ranking increased too? Or not? Like, I mean, I want to do my
No.
job, right? And like we've literally done it so many times and seen it work so many times. Like you don't have to convince me that it works anymore. So it's just a matter of trying to convince the client. And also it's like, what's the worst case scenario? We put some stuff on your site. If for some reason it has a negative impact in some way and you're like, oh, less people are calling me, we'll just take it off. It's easy to undo.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had
Brilliant.
that happen though.
No, I can't imagine that would happen. Do you have something for us, Ben?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for us, I would say last year we leaned into heavily expanding our clients' territories. So, opening new locations where they really want to have clients, basically, whether that be across the river or north, south, east, and west portions of the town. Of course, doing everything within the guidelines. So that way we don't suffer from suspensions or shutting down businesses or anything like that. I wouldn't say we leaned too heavily into name changes, but we allowed our clients, again, if we can get into the guidelines, to add descriptors basically to their names. And whereas we were very resistant to that before because of the possibility of really just getting shut down, by Google, even if they are in compliance, right? Because it's pretty difficult to prove. And lastly, I think I brought this up before, is spam. Our team is really, really good at hunting down and getting rid of spam. And so we increased that with a lot of our clients, including it into our packages and, giving a little bit more education and, of course, showing the results. And, I mean, if you can get rid of 2 or 3 of your competitors who are not in the guidelines, it's still one of the easiest ways to rank, I think, personally.
Mm. And that complete aside, but it's not an aside really. Have you got an updated guide for spam fighting that you've written somewhere, Ben? That would be lovely to read.
I have not, but I should probably do that one day.
I don't know about you.
Working on too many suspension articles right now, Claire.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad that you're writing. There are lots of important things. Yeah, the idea, the spam fighting. It's sort of, I don't know, what's your experience of it like? Because I used to find it easy, and it feels harder and harder, and like the redressal form is less effective. Maybe it's just me. Our process,
It is, and I think the average agency and spam fighter, quote unquote, there's a lot of challenge basically there, right? Because you're looking for instantaneous results. We look at a 90-day window basically for success. We don't look at the 2-week window, which was what you used to be able to look at, right? Mm-hmm. And so we just enhanced our processes around this 90-day window. And we keep track of everything in our tools and all that. And we just see an average of 50% gets completely whacked. Whether it be just name changes or locations going down. But it takes time. And there has to be very, very specific processes that you put in place to actually get those results.
And I guess managing client expectation is a big part of that as well.
It's huge because there's certain industries that you just can't do it for. Like RVs. It's crazy. But like for RV parks and RV types of services, it's like it just won't work at all. But in some industries, it's like slam dunk.
Okay. That's good. It's good to know that obviously some people are seeing some success with their spam fighting. Amanda, what's the secret sauce for the year gone by?
Yeah, so we started focusing a lot on conversion rate optimization and finding ways that we can better convert the traffic that is coming to our client websites, whether it be like branded or non-branded organic traffic. And another thing that we've been focusing on is location-specific topic clustering. So not just focusing on, like, for a car accident lawyer, like Atlanta car accident lawyer page, Atlanta personal injury lawyer page, Atlanta bus accident lawyer page, but going into each of those topics and finding truly locally relevant content to write about those things in those areas and using that as internal linking opportunities, because we found that on average, a lot of our clients have fewer internal links than their competitors. So creating those opportunities, and while doing that, creating actually good local content versus garbage, spammy, very similar to everything your competitors have.
And have you got a team? Have you got a writing? You've got a writing team within Rickety Roo, so that's nice as well, isn't it? Writing.
Yeah.
There's no AI written content going on, obviously. There. Okay. Right, we will move on to the crystal ball phase of today. We are thinking about looking to the future, 2024. Here we are, January. Who knows how many products in Google's repertoire will fall away this year? How many will be added? What might happen? Who knows? We'll see. Probably next year when we do this again, and we count them up. So obviously there's another AI question because everyone loves AI. We're going to start with Ben because I think he might love it the most. I don't know.
Yeah, you might be right, but you probably want to go ask, Bard that question, and you might get the right answer. Just maybe.
I haven't really used any Bard. Ben? How's it going? Look in your crystal ball. How's it going to evolve over the next year? And what can we expect to see with the impact of SGE that I still haven't had access to?
So, well, that's a bummer. Come VPN into it, Claire. Come
I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. I've got real work to do.
You can always use the Anthropic if you want. So in the crystal ball, I would have to break it down into 3 areas, maybe 4. Yeah, 4. The first one I'm going to say, and I'll work backward on this one, is I think that what we're going to see more and more is we're going to see a lot more UGC basically created with AI. But in that vein, because that's not necessarily a positive thing, right? In that vein, I think we're also going to see AI penalties arise. The search engines are going to figure this out. They're going to be able to figure out what was AI created, but maybe even what was AI massaged, right? And what is just garbage. And I feel like they're going to go ahead and figure a way around it, and also a way to give a penalty. I don't know if that would show up in, Search Console or anything like that, but, content being dinged, I think is going to happen. On the line of content, I think that the content experience that we have is going to be enhanced just because of how much AI tools can really add value to your content and shorten your time as far as like doing research and things like that. But on the other side of that coin is editors. I really feel like this year that editors are going to be on the rise as far as in demand. And this is, I think, going to be largely in part to AI. Because as we know, anything that deals with an AI answer engine or something like that can sometimes just give us garbage, right? And on top of that, if you don't really have a very masterful approach at building your prompt, you will get garbage and you will get misinformation. So writing a very good prompt is going to be necessary. And I think that's going to fall into the editor's side of the world, I guess is my point. And then they're going to have to fact check things like that, and then rewrite their prompt so that way the prompts can return more accurate types of information. It's like when I write a prompt, I will sit there and I will agonize over writing my prompt and putting up guardrails, because you have to give negative things. You have to say, don't do this, or I don't want that, or you must include this. And when you do that, if you write it out thoughtfully enough, you can get a really great result. And you just actually don't have to check it as much. And the last thing, and I think this is probably the most important part, is that I think that this year we are going to see the rise of what's called answer engine optimization. And so AEO, right? You'll have SEO and you'll have AEO. And they're going to work in hand. I think they're going to work together very well. And with the answer engine optimization, you're basically, in a sense, giving a nudge to generative AI. And you're kind of trying to impact the results for others based on what you have put out there, by trying to control the narrative, basically. And actually, I think forums actually will come into play as a part of that, by the way, because you have to have multiple inputs to be able to do something like this, basically. But I think this is going to become a role. I don't think it's going to become like a huge role this year, but I think we're going to see the start of this role.
Ben. Good. It is, yeah, the enormity of it in terms of how it's going to change everything, and the displacement of what we see as sort of our job functions and our job roles. It's like the Industrial Revolution. It's like AI replaces all of these like very manual tasks, and then we're all going to be like, you say, the next thing in terms of what job do I want to do? Oh, I need to, it's like coding, isn't it? I'm going to be the person that is going to write the prompts and be the editor and la 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 la. And it is, especially, yeah, it's a lot of new stuff. It's exciting. It's an exciting time, but getting your head around it is a huge thing. So Ben has predicted the downfall of us all as SEOs. So let's just go. So we'll just send it early. Not really.
Actually, I think it's the other way around. Really, I think that people were calling for they were calling the death of SEO back in January, right, when ChatGPT was really rolling out, and people were like Joy was saying, there was a lot of hype, right? And saying, oh, SEO's dead, SEO's going to die, computer's going to do it all. No, you cannot replace the brain of an SEO person. You cannot replace the tactics of an SEO person. If you want to go to ChatGPT or Bard or whatever and ask about local SEO, it will spit out the biggest amount of drivel you can ever see. Some of it will be accurate, but for the most part, it's repeating junk and high level stuff too. Like, you need to get links. Okay, where? I'm sorry, Amanda, right? You got to go ask Amanda, or you got to ask Joy where, actually, and do some analysis. So
cool. Okay, Joy, you're a big fan of AI.
Yeah.
SGE, what do you see? How is that rolling out? When is this going to actually affect people and the search results they get?
We don't even know if it is going to roll out. So everyone's talking about it. I'm like, until I see Google come up with some way to make money off of it, I don't see why they would roll it out. Like, where they could put the ads. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's never going to be an experience like ChatGPT where you just ask a question, you get answers. Like, Google's got to make money, guys. Like, so I'm not the least bit worried. If it does roll out, I think it's going to be like a fancy featured snippet. Like, we already have featured snippets that are, literally direct answers to questions. And I can tell you right now, there are definitely ways to take over featured snippets using SEO. Like, you could have the best page in the world. We have had lawyer clients take over featured snippets from government sites. Like, we're not more authoritative than a government site. We're just better at SEO. So it's like, SEO is not dead, nor do I think it's dying. Links are not dead. They still work phenomenally. All that stuff. Like, I think all the trendy things that I've heard is a bunch of crap. So that's my stance.
You heard it here. Love it. That's my new strap line. Amanda.
Yeah. I can see it going for this year. I kind of agree with Joy. There's not going to be some insignificant, insane, industry altering change that's going to happen within the next 12 months. I do see down the line, as we're looking at the future of SEO, that there's going to be a change in our approach, that it's going to be more multifaceted. where it's not just about your website and your GBP, and links from other sites. It's just about your online presence in general, as these models just take in more information about you out there that relates your business to what you do and where you're located, the better off you're going to be. And that is part of that too, is building brand awareness. So I can see social taking a bigger role in this. And it's harder to fake relationships with a bunch of customers that could be found online. That's harder to do than, and I think that's part of the reason why you're leaning on forums right now too, is because of AI. Like, where can we find where people are actually interacting with each other and we can get true, real opinions on things? And that's where everything is going to lean, is like your authenticity is going to matter even more as a business as we go along. But for this upcoming year, I do expect there to be changes, things that I could not even predict right now. But I don't see it being like a huge thing. But I do think businesses who are starting to think holistically about their brand, about their presence, not beyond SEO, beyond PPC, beyond that, are going to benefit the most in the long run.
I love it. That feels like a very grown-up conversation. It's like just like it's real. It's like marketing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. We didn't say it depends.
It depends. We don't need to. We're grown-ups now. What I was going to ask, just on the, I don't know if anyone else like in the audience is feeling a bit like, oh, I'm sort of there with understanding about all this AI stuff. Is in terms, can you just each of you like come up with one thing that you think that local marketers should do right now, just to dip their toes in the water if they're not already? Because a lot of the time we're already using it, but we don't know because we don't call it AI. It's part of the tools that we use. But if you're like, I just don't understand how this is relevant to what I'm doing and how I'm working with my clients, one thing that they could go and do now, Amanda, what would you suggest?
I mean, I really do just suggest everyone to try one of these ChatGPT like tools and understand the type of results you get and check them. Like, not just do it and say like, okay, yeah, that's the result I got, that must be true or accurate, but check it against the things that you know. Look at it from a perspective of being skeptical. I think that's a very good quality to have about these AI right now in general in SEO as a marketer, to be interested, excited, want to explore it, but to be skeptical at the same time about the outputs that you get, and test and verify over and over again, but start making it at least part of what you do as far as an option when you're thinking about your processes, when you're thinking about collecting data, so that it doesn't catch you off guard. If it does become something that is going to be impacting you on a daily basis in your job, at least you'll have some exposure to it. So my thing would be to get some exposures to how it actually works, how to create prompts that will actually get results, things like that, so that you're not starting off from ground zero if there's some big explosive update that somehow happens this year that we're not aware of.
Yeah, I haven't tried that, so yeah, that's brilliant advice. Thank you very much. Joy, anything that you would recommend?
Well, something that we're doing at my agency is getting more training on like Midjourney and how to use it. It's not like the most user-friendly experience. I know Ben's messed around with it a lot, but it's not like, you instantly just go there and know how to use it. So I think there is some skill there that needs to be learned. So we have, like, one of my employees, like, he uses it all the time and knows how to use it and stuff. So I'm having him train a bunch of the rest. But I definitely think it could be a time saver for the average marketer and business owner, to be able to use that versus, searching for the right photo.
Perfect. Thank you. Ben, anything to add there? Well, how would you recommend someone dive?
Yeah.
All these water analogies, but yes, diving in, jumping in.
So along the lines of what Amanda was saying here, and that the one thing that you can do really is become a prompt master. Really dive deeply into how to write a prompt, how to build up your guardrails, how to tell AI and instruct it to what you want to do. And the easiest way you can do that, beyond reading all these cheat sheets and things like that people put out there, because they actually don't help you, by the way, is along those same lines, is just get the experience. That was why I dove in right away when ChatGPT just blew chunks. It was horrible, right? But I still wanted to figure out, how can I use this? And I'll give you just one example. I was just playing around and working on a suspension case, and I wanted to see, because they had these 20 different service areas, right? And I don't know that state. And I didn't know, if it was 2 hours driving distance or not, right? So I needed to figure it out. I said, you know what? I'm not going to go waste an hour and try to figure this out. I'm just going to throw this into ChatGPT, and I'm going to ask the question, right? As if I would ask anybody who lived there. And it came back and spit out each one of the locations and the average driving distance, basically from the address, basically. And I went ahead and I double checked it just for grins and giggles, and it was accurate. It was really deadly accurate. So now I use it all the time, but that's just one example of something you can do. When you're talking about images, right, Joy? It's like, me personally, I like Midjourney. I don't love Midjourney. I love DALL-E 3. That's what I love. DALL-E 3 gets fingers right. It gets basically, you can add text very easily now. Yeah, exactly. I wanted to get one of those little fake plastic fingers that adds a finger to you. Just be like, yep, my pictures are correct. No. But whereas Midjourney doesn't, and really can't do these things very well, but I still play with both tools because I want to see if my prompts are going to work here, and if my prompt is going to work there. What can I do better with my prompt? Because as these things evolve, the prompt is going to be the core of what you're going to use. Another example of something that's will be coming this year very soon, is Google is working on, it's in beta right now, but they have a text to video prompt. And the text to video prompt, you are going to be able to make YouTube shorts with no problem. And an amateur is going to be able to do it with a good prompt. You might even be able to, and this is a prediction, I don't know this, but you might even be able to say, Bard, okay, here is this article. I want you to do this. It needs to be in this style. And, you could choose a movie director or whatever you want, and say, I want to have this kind of scene. And, the sun should be setting, and the tone should be this. It should be photorealistic 4K, blah, 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 blah. And it will end up spitting it out, basically. That's my prediction. But again, learn how to prompt, play with those tools.
Perfect advice. Thank you very much. So as much as we've spoken about AI and we've had a bit of a, I feel like the sky is falling down. Obviously, the sky is not really falling down. So many of the things that we do and the foundational aspects of actually offering local SEO products and services to our customers and to our organizations essentially do stay the same, but we're trying to see what might happen in the future so we can be first movers, or at least within the first movers, to help our clients get that competitive advantage. And it was interesting when you all spoke about the tactics that you've had good success with this year. Are not things that are related to, oh my gosh, the sky's falling down, which is, we've had CRO, we have had extension and expansion, and we have had, Joy's content and getting better content around jobs on those customer pages. Aside from those things, is there anything else that you have found to be very effective in 2023 that you will be taking with you into 2024, aside from the things that we've already said?
We've said a lot, Claire.
We have said a lot. And that's why we'll be very succinct when we reveal the other thing that we're secretly doing this year.
Well, we haven't mentioned link building too much, so I'll throw that one in there, but it's not new. So it's but again, there was lots of speculation around links and, if Google, I remember hearing a few years ago that Google's going to pay less and less attention to links and they're not going to matter and blah, blah, blah. I'm not seeing that trend for most link types, but I will say one that I would definitely keep an eye on is citations. Some of them are good, some of them are not. And I think that's something that people need to look at. And it's actually really simple. If you want to measure the effectiveness, check to see if they're indexed. It's my like one tip that saved us a ton of time once we realized like that is the metric to look at. If it's not indexed, yes, you can force it to be indexed, but that's a good sign that the site is not a good quality site. And obviously, if it's not indexed, it counts for nothing.
Amanda?
Unfortunately, the thing I was going to say was link building too, but like truly local links, specifically what we've been focusing on are truly local links. So links from other local businesses, from other actually local websites, from people who are known in that area. Those types of backlinks specifically, just going along with the like making sure that your online presence truly represents what your business is, where you are, and all of that, because that's just going to get more important as time goes on.
Links are not dead. Ben?
Ditto. There's not much more to say. I mean, links are important, right? They always have been. The death of links is not here, not by a long shot. High quality links, of course, right? I mean, I think I'm just echoing things that we've all said over the years, right?
Yeah.
But from a citation standpoint, I too agree that citations they're not as dead as they were 2 years ago. Let's just put it that way, all right? Because 2 years ago we did the whole the local search survey, and everybody's like, "Nah, citations, no, they're dead." BS.
Yeah.
We do tests on these things too, and internally, and what we find is that the local citations are extremely powerful. Of course your top tier citations are very important too, but like for instance, getting a Chamber of Commerce link is amazing, and also Google trusts it too. Not BBB though, even though Google trusts them, the link actually doesn't do anything, I think. But but yeah, beyond that, I mean, we're still going to be leaning into that. And, I think Joy brought this up earlier, is the content that you have on your local landing pages, right? Crafting that content really carefully and, focusing on answering users' questions and really getting into, the consumer's mindset as to, okay, if somebody hits this page, what do they really need to see? Do they need to see an embedded map? Who is going to use this? Are they going to use this? No, we're not going to just do it because somebody said once in a while that it was useful for SEO. It's like, let's actually figure it out and let's see what happens. Let's measure it. And so we'll do that. Like throughout the year, it's like we'll actually manage these pages and pepper in new content and then measure the effectiveness basically. And once we see it working for an industry, then we're like, okay, great. Now we can roll this out for everybody.
Perfect. If before we move on to Q&A, I like to find out from you. I hope that you've been listening to the Adventures in Local Marketing podcast, but one of the sections that we do is Room 404, where our guests get to throw in Room 404 the thing that they just want to say goodbye to and they do not want to see or hear of again. It basically goes into the local search oubliette where it is forgotten, and that's what happens to it. So do you, Joy, have any tactics that you would just like to pop in Room 404, never to be seen or heard again?
So, I mean, I'll twist this because I have something I'd like to never hear from again, but I know we're not going to never hear from again, which is fake reviews, because they do work. So I'm going to put that out there. People do them because they work. We've done enough tests on like recency of reviews, number of reviews. Like there's a bunch of different factors that impact ranking, and that's why people do it. I would love it if we could throw that into the room and get rid of it and not have fake reviews, but that's really
No, it's not. And when you were saying earlier, Ben, when you said about user-generated content and AI, is that one of the things that you were getting at?
Oh, absolutely.
So like, it's not enough to have like 1 million people somewhere on separate IP addresses actually tapping in the fake reviews. Then we also have fake reviews AI generated.
Yeah, and you got fake reviews being AI generated. You got fake replies being AI generated. There were some hilarious replies that I think we saw, especially in like January and February when people weren't paying attention. It was really funny. It would literally, the reply would be like, "I'm an AI model. I don't know how to answer this question."
Awesome.
I would throw in a room 404 is still geotagging, EXIF, things like that to images. Stop it, please, forever. It doesn't work.
That's a good addition to room 404. Amanda, anything?
Doorway pages trying to pose as service area or location pages. I want that to go in room 404 and never come back, but we all know that it's going to continue to happen.
Not when we keep creating them.
Exactly. With AI, we've just found more creative ways to create a doorway page.
Yeah. Let's take it a step further than find and replace. Let's mix it up. Let's spin those sentences.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Brilliant. Well, thank you for sending all those things into room 404. And now we're never going to hear from them ever again. And a client is never going to mention them as well. That's good, isn't it? So thank you very, very much for sharing your brains. And it is now time for Q&A. So we have got a gazillion million questions. So what we're going to do is we are going to motor throw them. Do you want to? Yeah, let's go. Basically, just put up your hand if you think you've got something to say, because we're going to have quite a few questions here. So let's see what the first one is. Teresa asks, has there been any change to the way GBP reports on insights? Metrics from GBP Insights seem to have drastically changed in the last few months, and we can no longer obtain average ratings by location. Anyone want to dive in on that one?
Not something I've experienced. I'd be curious to know, like, if it's a chain or what it is. Maybe I don't want to say contact Google support because they probably won't be very helpful, but you can post on the Google Business Profile community. If it's for a specific chain, I'm assuming that. I haven't seen any major differences. I mean, they got rid of a few metrics, but there haven't been any major differences that I've seen in the last few months.
Okay. So, Teresa, it sounds like there might be a specific problem with something. So go into the community, pose that question, and someone very clever in there will be able to have a look at it and see if it is specific to your account. But it could have been because of it was an API. Was it the API ported over or something happened?
2023, there were some deprecations of data.
Yeah.
It was removed from the API and then it was removed from the interface as well, but nothing about ratings.
Okay.
So they might mean something else they might mean something else.
Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, Teresa, jump into the community. Let's have the next question. Could Ben give us some tips for fighting spam when using the business redressal form?
The biggest tip that I can give is you've got to understand what the person on the other end of it is thinking, right? When you have somebody at Google and you submit, whatever locksmith spam, right? You have this narrative going on in your head, which is filled with different emotion. The guy on the other end doesn't care about what you think or what you feel about it. They want to be straight to the point. And also, I mean, there's a machine in the background too, by the way. So those URLs are going through machine AI, basically their tools, and they're going to immediately flag up or down, or they're going to flag in the middle. And if it flags in the middle, it goes to human moderation. So, I would say be straight to the point, be logical about it. Don't be emotional about it. Be like, well, if they can do it, I can do it, and blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Nobody cares about that. So you just need to be logical. and keep at it too. That's the other point.
Try it. Yeah. It can be easy to get quite emotional, doesn't it? Especially if it's your business that you're trying to tackle a problem with. So whoever is on the other end is a human being and you need to explain it all to them.
Well, and
Hope that helps.
Yeah, especially if you've been penalized, for instance, if you've been suspended and now you want retribution, right? And you're going to go after all the guys in your area and I see this all the time. You want to go after all the guys in the area that are still abusing the system. Like, why aren't they getting suspended? So anyway, yeah, just be logical.
Okay. What have we got next? Andrew, for a local service business that is struggling with local search rankings, but is getting great national traffic through content marketing, what do you recommend to get local leads coming in? Amanda from Footlights. It's like University Challenge a bit. Go ahead, Amanda.
Yeah. So create more local content, like truly local content. I think that's where I see this happen the most is when you get more national, it's because your content is not really truly focused on your local area. So you're getting traffic from other things because in Google's eyes, you haven't shown them that it is relevant to that specific area. And of course, I assume that you do have a Google business profile, but if you do not, you would also want to have one of those as well. But creating truly local content, making sure that even if you're talking, like you're doing blog content that can rank nationally, making sure that you almost like a syndicated local version of it that is unique to that city too is helpful, especially if you're getting really good national rankings. You may not want to change that content, especially depending on what your company's overall goals are. If your goal is to be national at some point, I wouldn't want to do any change the content and make it more local. I want to do a different variation of it that speaks to that local area as well. But I would say more localized content, more localized efforts, more localized link building would likely be the best way to go to fix that.
Brilliant answer. Thank you very much. What do we have next? Oh, are suspensions on the rise right now? Joy, I can see from your face.
Don't give me that one. That's a Ben question. Definitely Ben.
Okay. All right.
So, get this question really often. Actually, I want to throw this question in room 404. Sorry, Jeff.
Okay. Jeffrey.
The reason
we appreciate your question.
There's such a reason why I want to throw it into room 404. Suspensions are never on the rise. Suspensions just are. How do I know this? I have a video that's on the suspensions page. I see the number of views that this page gets on a monthly basis. It does not fluctuate much. Yes, certain industries will get targeted. Yes, sweeps do occur in categories and in states, but it's not like they go through the roof. So it's average. It's always average.
Jeffrey, it's you're experiencing suspension, or you've got a group of businesses that are experiencing suspension, so you're feeling it more now than you had previously, and sad times, but it's hard. And I would say there is some excellent advice in the Google Business Profile community about dealing with suspensions and all of those things, and you've got lots of people there to help you that are good people, so definitely take advantage of that essentially free service and people like helping you get your listings in compliance. What is the next question? Oh, it's a long one. Okay, I'll try it. Right, Stefan, chiropractors, they're looking after them. Some of them are going up and down. Some of them are using keywords in their name. Could it be causing issues? Just trying to pinpoint the issue. How long is a piece of string?
The up and down instantly makes me think it's the openness thing. So because that, if it's recent. So, I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I've scanned a ranking report and I'm like, whoa, what the hell happened? And I'm like, oh, wait, it's 7 a.m. And my clients are open right now because I start work pretty early in the morning. And it looks like crazy fluctuations. We do see, especially with keyword stuff business names. So if you have like a keyword rich name with the word chiropractor in there, your reach will be pretty large after hours if the majority of your competitors are closed. So that would be my first guess. Obviously, really hard to diagnose a ranking issue without, spending hours analyzing stuff. So that's my 5-second analysis.
I love that summation. Yes. Brilliant. It could be that then. It probably is. What's the next question that we have? Aside from getting you reviews, ongoing things that will be good for your Google business profile.
And the other thing other than reviews we see that's the most influential on local pack rankings is on-site SEO. So, and that's never done. I think that's maybe like a kind of thing that people think, okay, optimize this page once, it's good forever. We kind of make it a habit to try and constantly find new things or new ways to improve existing pages, like work on them but in ways that are meaningful and you're not just, adding a new block of content. So like one really good idea is to, I'd say every 6 months or so, if you have a page that drives a lot of conversions or is responsible for ranking, look in Search Console and look for different query patterns that didn't exist before. We see this all the time, like new queries that we're like, oh, that query isn't even on the page anywhere. And there's some really easy wins there by just monitoring it every 6 months. You don't need to do that for every page on your site. The pages that drive conversions or are tied to what we call your money keywords, the keywords that, drive the most traffic from your business profile.
Perfect. Thank you. Anything to add to that one, Amanda?
No, it's 100% what I would say too.
Excellent. What do we have next? FAQs and answers.
No.
Next question.
No.
Yeah, interesting. So this is something that people think about a lot. Does Google prioritize bricks and mortar businesses over a pure service area business using the home to verify?
Well, it can be an it depends question. Okay, Joy, right?
It depends question.
It totally can, because it depends on the intent of the search.
We've done so many flips on this where we flip back and forth. You definitely have an advantage as a brick and mortar over a service area.
Okay, yes.
Business ranking.
Fine.
And I mean, I'll never forget. There was a couple where, it was so drastic that it was telling. Let's just say that we did publish a lot on this topic, but I didn't I had to kind of blur out some of the screenshots, which I feel like is somewhat of a disadvantage when you're looking at them, because when you don't have them blurred out, you're like, whoa, that's crazy. Unfortunately, I hate that this is true. I hope that it changes, but right now we have seen that having a address showing on your listing gives you an advantage in ranking for sure over listings that do not have the address showing.
Yeah, and I will agree with that. I mean, absolutely. It's like when we started working with this franchise in the garage door space, it's like they weren't showing any of their addresses. And then we came up with a way for them to show their address and, of course, expand their footprint. And, they increased the amount of sales that they were making dramatically. I guess there's also the radius too, in a sense, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Amanda, anything there?
No, I don't have anything to add there.
Yeah. If you can have a bricks and mortar location, then it will quite likely work in your favor. And there are lots of different options for having that. But obviously you need to be doing that within the guidelines and be there, present with good signage when you say you're open, etc., etc. Is that fair? We would all go for an office if we could have one, wouldn't we? Bricks and mortar. Yes. Okay. Don't forget to get your questions in, add them into the Q&A if you have got questions for our illustrious guests. And little prompt there, type the Q, and then we'll pull it out of the comments as soon as we see it. That would be lovely. So we're on to our next question. Ooh, okay. This is a good one, isn't it? What is some of the worst advice you frequently come across that is so wrong and will work against you with SEO? Who would like to answer that one?
Okay, I'll take this one. I
Okay.
feel like everyone's going to have a good answer. on this
That's
one.
it. Everyone's going to have an excellent answer for this one, I'm sure.
So I'll have a contrary. I have so many of these. I should have wrote them down. But one that I feel like is contrary that we've been discussing a lot internally lately is there's a notion when it comes to link building that it's all about the number of domains you have linking to you. And like, you have more domains linking to you, your rankings are better. We've seen over the last year, like through lots of testing, that the number one thing outside of, making sure that the page that's linking to you is indexed. That's step one. Step two, anchors. Like, and I realize this sounds spammy. So like, I don't know if this is going to cause more questions to come in, but having a keyword rich anchor, like again, people tell you not to do this. Google can penalize if you overdo it, but it has a massive impact on ranking. We did a series of tests looking at like, branded anchors, non-branded anchors. Your anchor text is huge for ranking. So if you were to compare, we've seen cases where like you have, 5 links coming from 5 different sites versus 5 links from the same site, but actually have different anchors. The links from the same site with different anchors carries more weight. And so I think there's like, everyone just obsesses over like new domains, new sites. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's not that simple.
I love that you do so much testing, like internally. So it's not like, well, this is the received wisdom, therefore we will do this thing, which is, I think, a lot of people would just, like me, would just follow. So it's always nice to get these like little real life nuggets of insight. So thank you for sharing that one. Amanda, anything that you're just like coming up against and you're just like, oh, head desk, no.
One of the things that I can think about, and hopefully this client doesn't listen to this because they'll know, but like over usage of programmatic SEO to create content for sites. That is something that is very wrong. You will hear a lot of no knock to them, but niche related SEOs who use this a lot, but it is likely not going to work for your business, especially like a local brick and mortar business. I've seen lots of issues where the content on the website is so low quality because they focus on creating as many pages to cover as many topics related to their service as possible, instead of creating like really quality content that is specific to their area, that is specific to their service, and just trying like just every error code you can get on your car, and then for every make and model they could find. That is not useful content for auto repair shop to have on their website, in comparison to having an actual break service page that has everything that you need to know about actually getting your car serviced. So that is definitely one of the things that I keep saying over and over again is mass producing content for business sites. It just doesn't work the same way it does for project niche websites.
Okay. And when you say programmatic, what do you mean by that?
Pretty much like plug and play. You create a template and then you have content that you either use AI or had someone generate where it's very similar across. Okay. And then there's certain elements that may be a little bit different, but not necessarily that different. So you can build out as many pages as quickly as possible. So like if you can build 1,000 pages at one time, there's a good chance those aren't quality pages. If you are working on if you are a business and you're working in your service-based business, it can work for some types of sites. We see it. Like there's definitely sites that use programmatic and it makes sense to. If you are the weather channel, like, and you have like the weather for every city, those are programmatic pages. That makes sense. But there's instances where businesses are using it where it does not work for their industry, doesn't work for their business, and it's not giving them valuable traffic to their site either.
Mm-hmm. Who haven't we had? Who hasn't told us the worst advice? Is it?
That's me.
Is it?
Amanda stole mine. No, I mean I agree with both Joy and Amanda, and that is that it's people think that it's quantity over quality, right? Quantity of links, quantity of pages, quantity of words on the page. I wish that would die. As like, well, how many words do I need on this page to actually rank? Stop. Just stop. Yeah, and all of these things can backfire on you in multiple ways too. So especially from the user's experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just. Can I add one? what did someone say to me the other day? Google loves long form content. It's like any sweeping statement about what Google loves. Google loves fresh content. So when you put your social media feed on, that's fresh content for Google. And yeah, Google loves long form content. Well, does it really? Okay, yeah, I think it's like on a use case basis, but okay, all right, okay. Have we got another question? AI tools. What are your favorite AI tools to create resources that will streamline processes? Other than our favorite or not favorite. We've heard about DALL-E. What else have we got that you're using?
So I use ChatGPT, of course. It's not my favorite go-to, by the way, anymore. I will also use Anthropic, which is Claude. Claude 2.1 is pretty accurate. They've expanded also the number of tokens that can be used. So it's like an encyclopedia and a half. You can absolutely write a book, by the way. I've done it. I love Bard. Bard actually has improved so much over the past 2 months. And also Bard natively will crawl websites and the information is always up to date. So it's unlike ChatGPT, which I think was April is the cutoff for data. I hate Bing. I cannot stand Bing. I cannot stand the answers that Bing has. And the only thing that I like about Bing is the fact that it uses DALL-E 3 for creating images. So if you're looking for a free way to create images, then use DALL-E, use Bing. I am going to just put a shout out there to a friend of mine who built a tool that incorporates all of these into one system for one price, which is cheaper than if you bought them separately. And that's called Magai, magai.co. And my buddy Dustin built this thing. And it has every single one of them. So if you want to play with everything, go try that tool out. He's got a free trial.
Great way to go in and learn, isn't it? If we were all saying you need to go and try lots of different things, then maybe that is a good way to spend a month going down that rabbit hole. Amanda, anything you would recommend to use for streamlining processes?
In addition to ChatGPT, like I mentioned earlier, I do a lot of things with Python, and I use ChatGPT to help write some of those scripts. So that is definitely so Google Colab would be a good one, especially if you expect other people to use that, and it makes it easier for you to share that with them. There's this tool called Moonlit Platform that will allow you to kind of make your AI solutions easier for other people to use as well. So it gives you the ability to kind of use multiple tools together and then share it with someone else and pretty much make an app out of it, essentially, so that others can use it more easily if they aren't savvy for using Python directly. You can put it through that and then they can use it that way too. So those are things that I like to use, but I typically just go straight to ChatGPT and play around until I find something in Python, make something that I can use enough that I can put in Python and fix and finesse as much as I need to, because it doesn't give you like a perfectly working result every time.
Brilliant. Thank you. Anything, Joy?
I have nothing else to add other than what they said.
Okay. I think Moonlit Platform sounds very romantic. Whatever that one was. I see many location pages say the same thing and they rank well. All they do is change the city name. What are your thoughts?
One of my thoughts is it's in an area where there's not a ton of competition and the competitors have even worse pages. That is probably what's going on there. Or it's a site that just has existed for such a long time, has so much authority that it is really like a staple in that area, to the point that it's hard to overtake it because it's had its reputation for so long. those are usually the two instances where I see that happen the most. But there's a really good chance is that the competitors aren't doing great with their content, and that's why they're being outperformed by them.
Mm-hmm.
It
So
works really
if you're, sorry, Joy.
like, I don't know why people spend hours on content for location pages, like making them different, you know, like, again, there's going to be naturally things that are different, like different reviews, different photos of the location, things like that. But like, you know, if you're an auto insurance company and you've got 15,000 locations, you don't need to write a paragraph about auto insurance 15,000 different times to get it to rank well on Google. Like, that's where I think people get it wrong. So yeah.
It's quite funny, the concept of good enough in that, you know, actually applied to your pages. They don't have to be perfect, but they do need to be, you know, good enough and better than the one that's ranking. And sometimes they're not very good. Anything else to say on that one, Ben?
Not really. I mean, I do fall into the camp of I like pages to be unique, and I mean, using AI is actually kind of useful here, you know. And also, you run the risk of running afoul of Google, in the sense that if Google does see you just changing the name of the city, you know, it's possible that only one page might rank. We've seen this with some franchises where they have some really serious issues because of all of this duplicate content, basically, which is how Google really does see it. Although I am in the same camp as Joy, and that is, if it's working, why fix it?
Yeah.
You know.
So, follow-up question to that, Ben, for those ones where you're seeing it's an issue, is it because they're in the same city? Like if you have 15 locations in Denver, is that where you're seeing it be an issue?
Yeah, it's mainly the same, not necessarily just the same city, but also the surrounding areas and suburbs, right? So where it's just they're close enough where it's just not helping. I would say if it's in a different state, you know, usually somebody's using a geographic modifier for their search, and so therefore it's working.
Right. Yeah. So opportunities just not to have great content, but actually do quite well do exist. So there we are. What do we have next? Ross asks, does including location and keywords in the description contribute to better ranking? And does the inclusion of social profiles impact its performance?
The straight up answer is no. However, I will say that it's a good idea to put those social profiles in there because we don't know what Google's going to use that for yet. They've already stated that they're moving more towards richer social content in search. How do we not know that that's going to be a discovery mechanism?
So I'll definitely comment on that. I think that like it's been a long debate on like if social factors influence ranking. I can tell you for certain in some way they do, and I'll give you explanation why of that. We interviewed a guy named Roger Wakefield on our YouTube channel, and he told this story about how he was a plumber in Dallas, and he hired all these SEO companies, and they were kind of like not really doing a whole lot. I guess he hired some crappy ones, and then he went nuts on YouTube. Like he became a YouTube star, and he's known on YouTube for the plumber. Like you search plumber on YouTube, you get like a ton of his videos. Like he monopolizes YouTube in a way that you can't really monopolize Google, which is fascinating. And he talked about how when he started doing this and he got to a certain amount of like people watching his videos and stuff, he started ranking for plumber Dallas, and he had never ranked for that keyword before. He wasn't doing any SEO, and then he ranked. And I've seen a similar pattern for a friend of mine who's like basically skyrocketed his business because of TikTok. He has no SEO. I'm talking to him about that hopefully this afternoon. I'm like, dude, you have some opportunities here. But he's now ranking for stuff like keywords that are not branded, that he's never optimized for, shouldn't rank for them if you were just looking at it from an SEO perspective. But he is so famous on like Instagram and TikTok and things like that. Why I think SEOs have always missed this is because they're trying to fabricate it. Like, oh, let's set up a TikTok account and we're going to rank better in Google. Like, no. Like Roger Wakefield didn't get to Google because he was just had a YouTube channel. He had a successful YouTube channel with tons of metrics. That kind of stuff. I don't think SEOs can just go fake. But I would say that social metrics as a whole, if you're doing it right, if you're doing YouTube right, and you actually have a lot of viewers there, real viewers, not fake ones, don't go buy your followers, but like real people interacting, then yes, I do think it is a ranking signal.
Okay, I want to ask you a clarifying question on that, though.
Yeah.
Are you saying that his Google business profile or his website increased in ranking, or are you just saying he was his videos started showing up?
No, his website. He didn't say if it was his business profile, but definitely his website. And I think he was talking about organic rankings, but based on what I would say from the interview, I can't.
I could buy that. I can buy that, but I couldn't buy it impacting the GBP though.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and ask him. But yeah, like definitely because links don't impact local pack rankings as much as they impact organic. So
Right.
I think it's safe to assume it would be a little different. In that case, we were talking about organic.
I think another thing to keep in mind is, if you're looking from a ranking perspective, but it's more important to think that, using your keywords, this is to Ross, obviously not, using your keywords and what it is that you do in your description is going to be helpful for the actual user. It might encourage them to click through. And then having your social, there might be some trust implications there. It might be good for the user. And then another thing that's happening by you drawing all of these things together is you are feeding this information into Google with regard to your business as an entity. So who you are, what you do, who you serve. So having those things and using them, it's not necessarily for ranking, it's for the whole piece, the whole marketing piece. So rather than measuring it in terms of effectiveness for ranking, you get it done and it reflects well on you as a brand to your customers, and also for Google would be what I would say about that as well. We've probably got time for maybe another couple. I'm not sure how many we have got. Isabel is saying we serve auto repair shops all over the US. Is it best practice to ensure the Google business profile categories match the pages in sight? Not sure about the end of.
I would say the answer is no.
You'd want to make sure that you use there are a bunch of applicable categories for auto repair shops. So you might need different ones depending on all the different service. Like you're not just going to be able to use one and it's not going to cover everything. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head which ones they are, but you're likely going to have different ones that you need for like oil changes versus like just general auto repair searches and things like that. So I would maximize as many, like you can only have 10, but I would try and get, as many as you can, provided they're relevant, and don't start driving calls for stuff you don't do.
What Joy said.
I would add that I would maybe test having different ones as your primary too, just because not just from a ranking perspective, but from a conversion perspective, there may be some categories that actually increase calls over others, especially if you have multiple locations. You may find that some locations, if oil change is the primary category, you get a ton of calls for oil changes, but that doesn't work in another city. So it may be worth to do some testing to figure out what works best for each location as well.
Or you can also use tools like GMB, like Plepper or GMB Spy. Mm-hmm. Take a look at your competition, who's outranking you for whatever your keyword queries are, and look at what they're using too.
Mm. And just looking at that question again, Isabel, because you say match the pages in sight. I'm wondering if you're also talking about the website and the location landing pages, in which case you would expect to see use of the categories and the words on those actual pages as well for those auto repair shops. So if that's what you were getting at as well, then yes, it's important to use the words in our content, in our title tags, and the things that we're optimizing for in Google Business Profile. Let's have a little look, see if we can get another couple more in. For service area businesses, does hiding your business address affect ranking in the map pack while the rest of your competitors are showing their addresses? So we sort of touched on this, but what would we say here?
Yes.
Yes, it will. It will affect. So if we sort of like coming full circle in that if you can have a bricks and mortar location that is staffed, you, according to all of us, would say that you will perform better. That's what we're saying, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean that doesn't mean you should just go show your address, by the way. Because if your actual address is a home, bad idea. Yeah. Really bad idea. It means go get something, go get a location and put up your signage, Just stay in the guidelines, read the
Yes.
guidelines, or hire somebody,
Then-
whatever. Ask a friend, and then move or
Yeah.
show your address.
Yeah. And work out where you should move to by doing a little bit of research as well. That's another
Right.
thing that everyone has been talking to. I know that Amanda has done presentations on this, and Joy is local you talking about choosing addresses based on, even very small, like 100 meters, 50 yards, whatever. So yeah, but it's a good idea to have a bricks and mortar if you can. Have we got time for another one? What have we got? Okay. In terms of Google Business Profile Insights, we don't have direct, we don't have discovery searches anymore. What do you think that should be included in a report?
I love the keywords.
Yeah. Yeah, the search queries are one that you definitely want to watch trends on. Like see if it's going up or down over time. And obviously actions are really where it's at. Like I don't really care about views at all. But actions are important.
Yeah, definitely don't dwell on views. They really don't matter.
Basically, they're gold, aren't they? The little bits that we do get via insights is like someone has done something useful. They have pressed the button to get driving directions, so they're likely going to come and see you. They click through to your website. These are actions that can lead to a conversion.
Yes. Two caveats I'll point out when you're looking at searches that I feel like a lot of people don't realize. They do pick up on rank trackers. So if you are like, why are all the keywords in there that are getting high volume the same ones I'm tracking on Bright Local? Those do get counted. And then also they count ads. If you start running Performance Max campaigns and you see giant spikes and then you stop running your campaigns, those both impact the actual like views and clicks. They'll also impact what search queries you see. So keep that in mind.
Fantastic. I love ending on a metrics question. That was very joyous. That is all we've got time for in terms of Q&A. So I need to say, and I want to say, a big thank you to the three of you for coming along and giving up your time and answering all of those questions. That was brilliant. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It was fun.
Good. Come again. This time next year. Yeah. Yeah, should we do it again? So for all of our listeners and watchers, make sure that you go ahead and follow all of our panel members on Twitter or X or LinkedIn or wherever you can find them, because you've got lots of nuggets of information to share with everybody, and you're all really nice, which is really important, I think. So basically, if you want to get your year off to a great start, you're going to work on your SEO, then I'm going to do a big up for the Bright Local Academy, where you will find all sorts of courses, stuff on business listings. We've spoken a lot about location pages and locational content, service pages, and there's loads of stuff. It's all for free. You just need to have a login, and then you can go in and you can do the courses in the Bright Local Academy. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news, find out when the next webinar is, then you can sign up to the Bright Local newsletter, which is here. So I just want to say thank you again and goodbye to our lovely guests.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks all.
Bye.